Then Dr. B. Suresh Sir. Dr. B. Suresh Sir has distinguished himself as an eminent educationist, pharmacist, and a leader. He was elected in 2003 as the President of Pharmacy Council of India and broke all records by winning the PCI presidentship for the fourth time. He was also the chairman of scientific body of Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, which is responsible for setting of standards for pharmaceutical substances and formulations. Dr. Suresh is also the delegate member of United States Pharmacopoeia Convention USA and International Commissioner of Accreditation Council of Pharmacy Education ACPE USA. He's also the past president of Indian Pharmaceutical Association and was responsible for the drafting of Pharma Vision 2020 that was launched by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the late president of India, in the year 2008. He continues to provide his leadership role in his multifaceted career by serving on several national and international statutory committees, which is Drug Technical Advisory Board, National Board of Accreditation, National Committee for Clinical Establishments, and Committee for Control and Supervision of Experiments on Animals.
Yes, sir. So I welcome you, and please put forward your views on ISMTM and our conduction. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation. Yes.
Thank you, Ajit. My good friend and colleague in the profession, Dr. T.V. Narayana. It's a pleasure to meet you here. We don't seem to meet in person anymore with the pandemic. We have to meet online only, all our friends. Nice to meet you here. And Ajit, the CEO and the head of the this program, as well as the company they have initiated, and my other friends and colleagues who I am able to see and recognize, Professor G.D. Gupta, Mahinder Singh Rathore, Dr. Anupama, Anant Naik Nagappa, Lakshmi, I could see she was there for a while. So greetings to all of you and all my teacher colleagues who are there. And also Saurav is there, Lakshmi, and I mean Atmaram Power, all of them are there, all my friends. And it's nice to meet you all. And at this outset, I wish you all a very happy, prosperous, healthy new year. I think it's no way better than starting a year with understanding how medicines, which play a very important role in every person's life, to be judiciously and properly given to them. I think that's the best way to start, and I congratulate this team which has set up this type of initiative to move forward, and particularly organizing this international symposium on medication therapy management. One of the things when when the invitation came to me to reach out was that first I was almost typing into the mail telling that I am tied up with several commitments because it was clashing with my another program. But then I said, let me see who are these people, and went into the company and started seeing the organization. And I could find all young pharmacists trying to prove themselves or prove their role. And I usually like people who talk less and work more and do action. I mean, there are a lot of people who keep talking about this, that, and not really deliver or make efforts. Deliver means make efforts towards realizing it. And seeing that here is a young team who are willing to go forward and try to put forward, I said, yes, I will come. Though I didn't know them personally, but still I said, let's do it, because there's a young team and it's my duty to give them the support and encouragement. And that's why I am here, and I asked my other program to be shifted by another 15-20 minutes so that I can join them a little later. What is very important here to understand is the passion and drive to do something, because nothing is achieved overnight with whichever facet of the thing which is there. Like if you are looking at Elon Musk talking of taking people to Mars and landing them there, he is not thinking that it should be done today and it will be over. He has been planning it for past 10 years, that how he is going to land people in the Mars after 10 years. That means he's not looking anytime now. He's looking at somewhere around 2030 where he can take people to Mars and land there. So I think you have to understand the multiple facets which go in such a type of a big vision. People have to believe in the vision. People will have to pursue that vision, and then try to see that it is doable and make stakeholders to buy in. So that's what he is doing now, and he is already booking people on the flight. So that means somebody believes that this is possible and doable, and he is booking flights into the system, and he's taking people onto the flights. So people are subscribing for it, and people are paying upfront that, okay, if there is such a thing, I would be willing to do it. So that means even a futuristic idea, if sold properly, people are ready to buy, is what I am trying to tell. And you have to keep in mind that not everybody will buy the idea which you are telling. It cannot be uniform. It cannot go across the country and say, no, everybody should follow it. It is not necessary for some of the people, and it may be very essential for the other people. So I think this is where we as professionals should try to judiciously try to target and reach out to the people. See, our approach always has been that we have spread ourselves very thin. We want to be everywhere, but not be visible doing what we are doing. So that makes the story very sad for us to make our case when people ask us for data, ask us for information, and what role really you can play. We don't have anything substantial to tell except what has been done at the Western world. Now, coming to the medication therapy management itself, why is it important? Who are the people who are associated with it? And this is something which we even as ourselves have to be convinced. Are we convinced of our own role? Yesterday, I was talking to my faculty, and I was talking to them about a vision in 2030. And first of all, they looked at me as though, I'm talking some science fiction. But I told them, if you are not going to believe in what we are saying, then there's no point in moving further. First is you have to believe that it is doable, and then it is possible to work towards that and talking about achieving it and taking it further. If you yourself lack confidence in delivering what you want to, what you are trying to say, you do it, I think then there's no way to move forward. Obviously, in the medication therapy management, there are three stakeholders. One is the provider of the care, other is the pharmacist who is there, and the third is obviously the patient. Quite often in our tussle for the medication therapy management, we try to forget the patient, who is the most important and beneficiary. We always talk about pharmacist knowledge and we compare it to the physician's knowledge and end up telling that, no, we know better than them. Why can't we prescribe? We do not want to do our job, but we want to do somebody else's job as ours. And that is the beginning of the failure in most of the cases. If we say we leave the physician apart and we talk only about the patient here, I think you will find everybody listening to you. That patient is the most important person. Patient is undergoing these challenges. Patients need to be benefited like this. Then you will find people standing behind you and talking to you. Why are these clinical pharmacists not being effectively used for the advantage of the patient? I think this is something is what is required in our thing. The two primary objects of the medication therapy is number one is improving the therapeutic outcomes. It's simple as that. Get the medicine being given to the patient, give him the best benefit which he has to get it. I think this is very, very simple philosophy which everyone understands. I think this should register into the mind of all the stakeholders. Second, for whoever it is, whether it is the patient, whether it is the insurance company, or whether it is the government, the second factor is how it will reduce the cost of care for them. I think these are the two primary things which everyone is looking at. One is the best service and the best cost for them. So if these two things are delivered by clinical pharmacists, you can imagine why anybody would deny you of this opportunity or this privilege to move forward and take. And I think when we are looking at these type of approaches, where we are talking about patient-centered role, and we are looking at provider providing the care, and the pharmacist trying to be a collaborator there rather than he being a what you call as a really looking at delivering. I am delivering this. I am better than this. If you say I am a collaborator with the physician and I'm collaborator with the patient for the benefit of both, I am working together. I think that's the way to move forward in this approach of medication therapy management. Lot of medication therapy management efforts have been carried out globally, be it Australia, Canada, USA, and everywhere, though they have started off, somewhere it is legalized and they are a part of the care, and it moves forward with that. But in many places, it has not done so well also, is because the basically it comes as the delivery part of it, whether the delivery, how this medication therapy management should be delivered to the patient. If you look at the delivery, whether this medication therapy management should be a part of the whole care or it should be a separate service. When they have tried to do this as a separate service, they have failed, because the question is now who has the physician or the patient or anybody who has the time to go out of the system and trying to prove or establish themselves as a provider of particular type of support or system, and then try to promote. When you are integrated with the workflow, whichever it is, whether it is in the hospital system or whether it is the payment system, if you are integrated into a part of it where both are benefited, I think then automatically your recognition, your role comes in. And this is what the international research on the medication therapy management is telling. Why it is not being so successful, that because when you try to move away from the mainstream and try to project yourself and get in, I think that's where the challenge which they are looking at. Obviously, we have to work with the governments. We have to work with the patients. We have to mean is the patient welfare movements. What I'm telling is patient welfare movements, and we have to work with the insurance companies. Try to tell them how their costs can be reduced. I think that is their primary focus, which these governments or anybody looking how the cost of care can be less. And second thing always is always, as I said, the best care that can be given, the best efficiency that can be given is something which we have to look at, and we should try to highlight multiple things in our role and not only the error made by the physician. Our always focus is that we talk of medication errors and the possible impact that it will have, and then it will try to help in the what you call as in the you will rectify it. And one thing which I would like to tell my friends and colleagues here is, if I tell you that you all have done some error, will you accept it straight away? You will not accept it. You will deny. First, you will refuse. You will say the way you did was right and there was a reason. And perhaps we are not understanding it. That's a very simple way of always pushing around. So, I mean, putting a negative, when somebody talks negative, first reaction is to resist that negativity rather than accepting it and saying, okay, so maybe, yes, I should have looked at it at a better way. No physician is going to tell that straight away to you. So instead of focusing on medication errors as our major point and talking about it in publication, the basically can you go one step forward? Can you prevent errors? And tell them how you can prevent errors and talk to them. Instead of quality control, can you bring in quality assurance in the prescription? I think this is something, if you work and go to the people, I think they will jump onto it. I think let's not talk about medication errors, but we can talk about best practices in prescription writing. Can you bring out a document talking of best practices in prescribing? What should be the best practice? I think if somebody can come out with a white paper, best practices in prescribing, I think then it will be a success story which you are talking about, and there is no question of medication error coming there. And okay, if at all a best practice of prescribing, you're talking, let us say if you want to prescribe antibiotics, what conditions, which conditions, and how many antibiotics you can simultaneously provide. How does a physician try to look at the system and try to say that this antibiotic is not for these conditions? I think these are some of the best practices if we can build in and try to talk about quality assurance here, prescribing assurance here, rather than medication error. I think we would be doing a proactive approach to the government. I think this is something which young minds like you should try to work out. Now today, if you want to see your astrology or horoscope, you go and Google and say you want to say that okay, I want to see what is my thing. You have got 25 astrologers coming online and trying to tell you how you can look at astrology. He gives you some five information free of cost, and then he tells for remaining pay 1,000 rupees to me to give additional information. Now, can a pharmacist not provide that information to the patient or to the physician? Okay, can you not have a portal for yourself? Okay, you have this prescription and you want to get it reviewed. Okay, you review the free prescription free for once or twice or three times. And then the fourth time he comes for a review, you say, okay, now why don't you subscribe to our portal? And we will try to help you guidance with the things. I think these are the things which you have to move with and not look at the conventional beaten road path. Oh, we need to be there. We should be present in the hospital. We should be presenting. Yes, we should be present. I am not denying that. We should be there in the healthcare team. I don't deny that. Yes. But before that, today with the technology playing a new role to us, we have to think innovatively. We have to accelerate our progress, not go by the same path which every country and world has moved. Can we not innovate? Can we not do something different? I just gave you a couple of suggestions which I just mentioned to you now. I think this is something for us to keep thinking on those lines and move forward. Now, I'll put you one straight, friend. You are a team of young people who are in the company. How many of you dared to write even an article in the newspaper or in any scientific journal reviewing the medication that was going on in COVID management? What was there any clinical pharmacist in the country who gave a very strong report why hydroxychloroquine should not be prescribed and why it should be banned and it is a wrong decision? Did any of us make a comment on that? I think that is where our role comes. If you want to show your pattern, you should have justified that, okay, hydroxychloroquine was effective in this way, but it was not effective for this reason. So to banning it is wrong. Has any one of us challenged WHO on that? No, we said, okay, WHO has said what is it and we would try to keep it. When a country like India, hydroxychloroquine would have made a big difference. And if we had put a argument and counter argument towards that, I think sometimes people look at this type of information. Now, if you look at the management of the COVID patients itself, we had a range of medications which were available for us to do it, right from starting doxycycline to dexamethasone to ivermectin and remdesivir, which was there. And every time there was a variation in the decision making to be made by the physician. Now, what type of scientific report came out of our team of clinical pharmacists telling that, no, remdesivir, as per the global data or as per the report, with its advantages, disadvantages, what report did it come out from us? Which team brought out from our country that telling that this should be the way we have to support? I think whatever we are talking, if we substantiate it with the data which we are talking about, I think people will listen to us. Now, I would like to tell, we have a good news that vaccine for our coronavirus or COVID has been, for the India, Covishield has been authorized in for the first phase. It has come out and we have a vaccine. Now, in another 3 months, we are going to have at least 4 or 5 candidates approved for vaccination. It may be Covishield, it may be Covaxin of another company, it may be Moderna's mRNA vaccine. It is if it may be a vaccine of the Pfizer, or there may be a Novavax vaccine, which is also under trial now in India by same Serum Institute is doing it. The second trial is in progress. And last but not the least, there is a vaccine of our Sputnik Russian vaccine is undergoing trial here. In fact, we are doing the Sputnik trial at our JSS hospital. Just as I am talking to you, it is launched and the trial has started there. Now, tomorrow as a patient, which vaccine should I take? Who should I consult? Should I consult the newspapers and do it? Now, let us say if a physician, if he has to help the patient make a decision on a vaccine, so what should be the data on which he should decide? Now, is there something which we as a clinical pharmacists be able to generate a report which we can make available Let it be free of cost initially to the country, to the world. So is there something why you can tell this is doing this way or that way, or we just wait for report to come in and move forward? I think this is something where our value will be visible. Now, if you are able to put a team together which is monitoring all the trials across the country, they are all available on the website. All the data are available on the website. Making an interpretation out of the data and trying to talk about that. Today, media is waiting for the right type of information to come. At least I receive one call every day from one newspaper or another, but because of the confidentiality clause, we are not able to give them any comment on the vaccine trials that are happening at our place. I'm just trying to tell that. But you are a team which can look at the data across, and you can always make your opinion in the presence. So I think this is something which I would like our young teams to think about and innovate and move forward, not wait for things to happen and let the new year move forward in that way. So in our university, we have made a 3-word news vision for 2021. It is simple. Assess what is happening around you, assess it.
Yes.
Number 2 is align. Depending upon the information you are generating, align with that assessment which you're doing. And once you have the alignment and assessment and alignment done, accelerate. Don't wait. Just rush through it, because you won't have waiting time to achieve anything further. The time span of growth and development is going to be so short. There is not going to be waiting for you 3 years or 5 years to develop some program. So the simplest thing we have said is, let us assess whether it is the new regulations of the PCI that may come in, or medical council new norms may come in, or it may be the vaccination programs the government is bringing out. Our focus is assess it. What is it? Then align with that, because no point fighting it. I cannot go and fight with the medical council or national medical council that their regulation is bad. Or I cannot go and tell the drug controller of India why we have approved the Covishield, we should approve the other vaccine. Now Covishield is available. Can I align with that? Then accelerate. See that it gets benefited to all the people that are concerned. Can the students be benefited by the regulations? How the teachers need to be trained to teach the subject with the new regulations? I think this is the philosophy we have taken. I think the team like you, the young team like you, should assess quickly, align, and accelerate. This is the message which I would like to give you all in the new year. And basically, it is one of the findings of such report of the world, which talked about challenges of MTM, was basically the problem was the attitude of the pharmacists. It was nothing else. The report read at the end that it was attitude of the pharmacists which was preventing the implementation of the MTM system in that countries. What was the attitude of the pharmacists? That okay, we know all type of attitude. The other attitude was, I don't have time. In community pharmacy, I am so busy, I don't have time to talk to each patient. So this is not there. Let them come separately and pay for it, and then we will try to talk to them. So this was one of the factors of the non-implementation of the MTM in some of these countries happened was that. And second thing which they found is, quite often the community pharmacists or the hospital pharmacists, they work in silo. They don't work as a team. And this again is a difficulty. Now you think you are knowledgeable, you are silo, you don't talk to your physician about the care you are going to give. He is going to challenge you. So you have to get away from that mindset that you are working in that you are almighty and you know everything, and then you will be the person sit and write prescribing. And 3 days back, another from India Today, they called up and asked me, is it true that there is some statement that the pharmacists can now run open clinics and run? I said, no, it's wrong. That information is wrong. So why do we want to become something else? If you wanted to be something else, you go and pursue it and do it. You cannot become a prescriber unless you have certain specialized skills. It's a very simple thing. I think we should understand again and again about that. You cannot become an aeronautical engineer by studying civil engineering. At the most, you can build aerodromes. You can build airports. You cannot build aircraft being a civil engineer, right? So I think we have to understand the difference of what we are doing and other things. So I think this is very important for us as leaders, because there are so many principles here. I think this message should go down and train in the students in a very, very strong manner is what I would like to say. And last message I would like to tell you is, two messages I would like to tell you is, if you are looking at implementing anything in India, you have to keep in mind the diversity which exists in our country. You have to understand that at one end, we are talking of high technology playing a role, developing vaccines, manufacturing large quantities, billions of doses going out of India, the capability we are talking on one side. Another side, we have a group of farmers protesting for different issue, right? So there is a diversity in the thing. You cannot bring everyone and tell all should be uniform. So when you are providing your services, you have to look at the diversity in your mind. And you cannot bring a system which you can implement in a corporate hospital to go and implement in the private hospital or in the, so I'm telling government hospital. So you have to look what will fit to the system and try to give a solution there. And that is the only way to succeed in the way. So you have to keep the mind that the diversity of our country, the type of services that you want to render at different places should vary, and you should develop models for that. How do you run services of medication therapy management? Let us say in an individual patient's, individual doctor's clinic. So that means, can a clinical pharmacist aggregate all the doctors together? And if they refer them to you, whether they will be able to take the shared burden of getting the information. Look as an aggregator rather than trying to tell them that do that. So how can you aggregate all the all the doctors in the region where you are, and try to see and provide the services which you can. And then I'm sure every doctor or private practitioner would be very happy to have an additional hand for you. Second is, try to leverage the technology to the maximum. Now, the future is going to depend only on this. So whether it is your medication you are going to buy, whether it is the patient doctor who is going to consult you through telehealth, because telehealth is, whether you like it or not, is becoming a part of reality, and it will soon come to India. And you will find, if a physician can attend to a patient sitting at the comfort of his home, why should he go and sit orders hours from 7 o'clock in the morning to night 12 o'clock to see the patients? So telehealth will become the way in future. So if telehealth is going to be there, then how the pharmacist is going to play his role in telehealth? So I think these are the things we have to look. So technology is going to play an integrated role. So try to involve in that. Thank you very much. I think I have overshot my time, and I got a little more emotional and aggressive as I was talking. But the whole idea was to stimulate you, excite you in this new year. And I'm sure that this new year 2021 will bring a lot of excitement in our profession. And this we would like to take it further, and wish you all the very best. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for such an insightful, talk. And you really, I'm very, very, proud that you accepted our invitation and joined us for today's ISMTM and give such an insightful suggestions. I will definitely take care of all. Definitely, sir. And we'll contact you to even proceed in future all of these things. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
And sir, now I'll just invite you to launch our abstract book. I'll just share the page. Yeah. So this is our symposium abstract book we are going to publish. So yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So it will be available after after a week of the conference. It will be there in everyone's inbox. Thank you very much, sir. So now, Miss Kangan, what's next?
Thank you. I think you will have to excuse me. I have to go for another meeting.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you all, and wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Happy New Year
sir.
to all my colleagues, and I'm sure we'll meet in person very soon.
Thank you so much, sir.
With all our
Very soon,
vaccines
sir.
coming out, I think we should be able to
Very
meet.
soon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Happy New Year,
sir.
sir. Happy New Year, sir. Thank you.
Happy New Year,
Happy New Year,
sir.
sir.
Happy New Year, sir.